granniopteryx, she knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Hello, I am going to be talking a little bit about the Your Party conference, which took place last week. I'm not going to be talking about their policies, since they don't have any, nor about the membership, which they sort of don't have, nor about the fight which is going on between Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana. I'm going to be talking about the way people on the left tie themselves up in knots, trying not to notice the contradictions in their own philosophy. Even The Guardian is having trouble with this party, and you can tell that, as I have frequently observed, you can tell how a newspaper feels about a certain subject or a certain person by choosing the photograph that accompanies the article. And if you look at this picture of Jeremy Corbyn, he looks like somebody who's trying to sell you a used car. And, you know, those eyes are definitely not the most leader-like photograph of the, well, possibly the leader of this new party. Although, let's have a look down here. And if you thought that maybe they were more into Zara Sultana than Jeremy Corbyn, when you look at this cross-eyed portrait of Miss Sultana, which is not only cross-eyed but vaguely threatening, you can see that The Guardian isn't carrying any torches for either of these guys. And the article starts with, "What did we learn at your party's first conference?" I shall read some of it, but I'll tell you what I learned, and I learnt it from one single clip, which I'm going to play for you after I've told you that I'm Granniopteryx. Please like this video. It's definitely going to be amusing. Please share it. Please subscribe. Now, I've had several complaints from people telling me that they've been unsubscribed by YouTube. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but please just check that you still are subscribed. Clicking the notification bell, I have been told by the YouTube assistant, clicking that notification bell does help keep the subscription going. I don't know whether they're telling me the truth or not. Okay, so yeah, that's like, that's share, that's subscribe. And if you want to contribute financially, you know, that's very nice. This time of the year, horse feed is far more expensive. And there's the matter of rugging. You see, my horse is now clipped because when he's not clipped, he doesn't wear any rugs. Of course, he's got enough natural hair, but it means that when he comes in of a morning, he is as caked with mud as a statue. I mean, it solidifies, and scraping it off is very unpleasant for him and takes ages, and I don't like to do that either. So we clip him. A lot of people do. You clip him and you put a rug on him. But horses have this rather heavy-handed or maybe heavy-hoofed attitude to rugs. They catch themselves in bushes and on trees and that sort of thing. And the rugs they're made to come off in an emergency or to tear in strategic places. So you know, 80, 90 pounds for a rug. The horse comes in the morning. There's this sort of bridal train behind the horse, dragging along behind him, held on by a couple of straps. The horse, and you're out there in the field looking and thinking, £80. Okay, right. Well, that was just a comment. I am not specifically holding out a begging bowl. When I took on a horse, I knew what I was getting into. I'm just telling you that any money you send me gets magnificently wasted on horse rugs. Right. Now, let's get on with talking about the Your Party conference and a couple of little trip-ups on the truth that happened along the way. Okay, this is my second attempt at starting this second section, and that's because I started sneezing when I began reading this here, which means, according to my mother, that I am telling the truth. Okay, this is the picture of Jeremy Corbyn, and you can tell that The Guardian is somewhat at a distance from this new socialist endeavour. Good morning. Over the weekend, the new left-wing party being built by Jeremy Corbyn, Zara Sultana and their supporters held its first conference. It came after months of public infighting and factional disputes, and in the wake of two independent MPs quitting the project before it even had a name. It still doesn't have a name. In the end, the main announcement proved somewhat underwhelming, with the party sticking with the bound to get confusing moniker Your Party, but the decision to have a form of collective leadership rather than face what threatened to be a bitter contest between Corbyn and Sultana for the top job may prove ultimately more consequential. Sultana's refusal to attend on Saturday. So one of the two founders of the party didn't turn up for the conference. She didn't turn up on Saturday in solidarity with the delegates expelled over links to other parties, suggesting the infighting isn't over. What's happened is that there are people who belong to other parties and they've joined Your Party as well. Well, this is to be expected. You've got people in, probably maybe the Greens or the Socialist Workers' Party or whatever, and they don't know whether this party is going to get going properly. So they're keeping a sort of dual citizenship, so to speak, and I can't blame them for that. And while I'm talking about the Socialist Workers' Party, when I play that clip to you, which will be there, the very passionate speaker, I feel very sorry for him because he's sort of half aware of the problems that he's heading into with socialism, but I'll get to that in a minute or two. He makes reference to the Socialist Workers' Party, which in 2014 or 2013, I'll find a page about it. I found it. The speaker at the conference shouts that the Socialist Workers' Party covered up a rape. And I think he was referring to the fact that there would have been people in the Socialist Workers' Party who had also joined Your Party. And what happened was that a member of the Socialist Workers' Party was attacked by one of the party grandees, and instead of going to the police, she opted to have an investigation from the Socialist Workers' Party as well. The panel they chose to investigate it were colleagues of the accused man, and they gaslit her. And another female member of the party who also came forward when this particular incident came to light. And it was all very nasty. But it happened in 2013. And what was going on at the time was, what do we say? What does she say here? The case involved a woman alleging rape by someone who was then a member of the elected leadership. A second woman also came forward to allege sexual harassment. The women making the allegations chose not to take them to the police. And then this is where the dissonance happens. An entirely understandable decision given the lack of seriousness with which the police treat such cases. Well, that's a load of hokum. Absolutely. The women who came forward didn't go to the police because if they had done, they would have been out of the Socialist Workers' Party altogether, and the people in the Socialist Workers' Party would have closed ranks, and a lot of possibly inaccuracies would be given to the police when these women talked about where they were at certain times or how these assaults happened in the first place, how they were allowed to happen, and the reaction of different members. It would have been dreadful for these women to go to the police to admit that the party to which they owed allegiance would be so disloyal to them. And these women didn't want to admit it even to themselves. So they went to the party. Now, rape is a crime. You report a crime to the police, not to your local social circle, for them to discipline the malefactor. And that's one of the things that's wrong with socialism. You see, the whole lot of them, none of them realised that you go to the police. If this woman had gone to the leadership and said, look, this guy, he's a rapist, the first thing the party should have done was go to the police, but they didn't. They instituted an investigation of their own, and they swept the whole thing under the carpet. Now they are apologising to the women and saying they made mistakes. But they didn't make mistakes. They stuck to their socialist principles. And that's that's one thing, okay? So this fellow here, he was talking about people from the Socialist Workers' Party being also members of your party. And he was also talking about the fact that the Socialist Workers' Party were practicing something called entryism. That is, building up a beachhead within your party to make it really just part of the Socialist Workers' Party. And then he says they covered up a rape. Well, that was the beachhead idea, not quite probably accurate, as all you regulars know. I have no sympathy either with your party or with the Socialist Workers' Party. I've had some dealings with members of the Socialist Workers' Party, and the members I met, they were all horrible, horrible people. Right, let's talk about this, because here you have a man who's telling the truth and can't even see it. So these are people, I suppose, from the floor. And I don't know this fellow, but it would be very nice if he finds himself, if he sees this video. I'd be really happy to enter into some correspondence with him. Right, let's just listen to this.
Hello, comrades. Dominic from Croydon.
Okay, so Dominic from Croydon, if you see this video, get in touch. Email in the description.
There may come a time when we need to form alliance with people, but we can't, from day one, fling the door open to every sect when we don't even know what we stand for ourselves.
Right, and there is the first thing. What he just said was, we have to make alliances, but we can't just fling the door open before we know what we are ourselves. Now, I'm going to take that to a macro level. He's talking about your party. I'm talking about the country. He says you can't just let in a flood of immigrants when you don't have a grasp on what your own culture is, because you don't want those immigrants to change your culture to theirs. That's what he's saying. He can see that very clearly. And yet, as a radical that he is, if you were to ask him, should we have uncontrolled immigration, I would sort of guess that he would say, of course, we owe it to the world, or words to that effect. And yet he can see it here in the microcosm. You know, he's this bright fellow. He's just compartmentalised his perception of the world. Let's carry on.
And we need to make sure that we build our own identity.
We have to make sure that we build our own identity. And I wonder, here, we're matching fingers. And I wonder whether he would be the sort who would be objecting to the St. George's flags flying along roads where councils are telling them to take the flags down because they're offending somebody. But that is the identity of England as a country. He can't see that. He can see it in his party. Your party needs to have an identity, and he doesn't want what you might call foreign influences. He's talking about Socialist Workers' Party here, but that's his focus. He doesn't want people with a different set of values to start coming in and disturbing the identity that your party should solidify and hold on to. Isn't that amazing? And he can't see that.
The effort like this has failed because of the influence of tiny sectarian groups, and we need to have a proper examination of what they stand for. And I cannot believe how short some people's memories are, that we have the Socialist Workers' Party coming up here acting whiter than white. We know what they did. We know what they did, comrades. They covered up a rape. They covered up a rape.
Now, here he's talking about a group of people who came in who excused rape. Does that sound familiar? And that poor fellow, he can see it. He can understand it. He can understand it when it's your party being infiltrated by the Socialist Workers' Party, which he sees as a party with no with a separate morality. But he can't see it when we're talking about the whole country. Isn't that odd?
And they expelled people for bringing that to attention. That's the kind of culture that they bring in.
And I think maybe the people on the panel can see it, because at this point they shut him down. Although the fact is he is getting a little over-passionate. You're not supposed to do that at conferences.
Dare they? How dare they?
We do not want any fights or arguments. Let's calm it down.
We've talked a lot about the toxic politics of the Labour Party, but I tell you, there's some toxic politics
We
in
are
these
going to have
sects.
to turn the mic off.
Thank you, comrade.
And he is so polite. They tell him to stop and he doesn't carry on ranting. He actually politely says, "Thank you, comrade," and vacates the podium. He is an intelligent, polite man, justly outraged by what the Socialist Worker Party did, but completely unable to see how his passionate and deeply held commitment to structure and truth actually puts him at odds with everything that your party, or indeed the Socialist Worker Party, stands for. I found that very, very sad. And again, if Dominic from Croydon would get in touch with me, I'd really like to have a chat with him. I mean, he is somebody I really feel sorry for. He's full of passion and humanity and principles, and they're all wrong because he can't see where his principles are going. Someone at the door. Well, I'll end there. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.